Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with a truth that may challenge what you've been taught. The moment you let go is the moment you begin to attract. You see, most people believe that holding on, clinging tightly to people, outcomes, and timelines is the path to success, love, and happiness. But in reality, attachment creates resistance. It sends a signal to the world that says, I don't have this, and I need it to feel whole. That energy, it repels. It pushes things away. It creates desperation, not attraction. Letting go is not weakness. Letting go is wisdom. When you learn to release your grip on what you think you need, you begin to discover the magnetic power of detachment. You stop chasing and start attracting. Because the truth is, life doesn't respond to pressure. It responds to peace. Letting go means you trust, not just in people, but in divine timing, in your own worth, and in the process that is unfolding even when you don't understand it. And that kind of trust, it's powerful. It's magnetic. Because the world gravitates toward people who radiate inner calm, not chaos. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how someone who's not trying to impress impresses the most? Someone who's not desperate for attention naturally draws it in? That's because confidence is silent, and so is true magnetism. When you let go of what is toxic, forced, or no longer aligned with your growth, you don't lose, you clear space. And in that space, better things arrive. Healthier relationships, bigger opportunities, deeper peace. Emotional detachment is not the absence of love, it's the presence of strength. It says, I love myself enough not to beg. I value myself enough not to chase. I trust myself enough to wait. You don't need to force anything to stay in your life. What is meant for you will feel natural. It won't drain your spirit or make you doubt your worth. And hear me on this. Letting go is not giving up. It's leveling up. You're not surrendering your desires. You're surrendering the fear that you won't get them. The more you release, the lighter you become. The lighter you become, the more energy you have. And the more energy you have, the more attractive you are. Because people are drawn to wholeness, to peace, to presence. That's the secret. So today, if something feels heavy, forced, or out of alignment, let it go. Not out of fear, but out of faith. Not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough to make room for what's truly yours. Certainly. Here's an expanded motivational speech of approximately 700 words, fully developing keynote. 1, attachment blocks attraction in an educational, inspirational style. One of the most powerful truths you will ever learn in your journey of growth and transformation is this: attachment blocks attraction. Now, this may sound counterintuitive at first. We grow up believing that if we want something badly enough, if we hold on tightly, work hard, think about it constantly, we'll eventually get it. But the reality is far more complex. Because when we become attached, we don't just want something. We begin to fear not having it. And that fear creates resistance. That fear creates pressure. That fear silently communicates, I'm not enough without this. Let me be clear. Desire is natural. Vision is powerful. Wanting a better future, a loving relationship, a fulfilling career. There is nothing wrong with any of that. The problem begins when desire turns into dependence, when we believe that our happiness, our identity, our peace of mind requires a specific outcome. We have entered the zone of attachment. And attachment is dangerous, not because it's evil, but because it tricks you into thinking that control equals safety. You start to think, if I can just hold on to this person, if I can make this opportunity happen, if I don't let go, I'll be okay. But the more tightly you cling, the more the thing you're clinging to begins to slip away. Why? Because life doesn't respond well to force. People don't either. Have you ever been around someone who needs your attention, your approval, or your validation constantly? That kind of energy is draining. It pushes you away, not because you don't care, but because desperation isn't attractive. It's heavy. It's suffocating. The same applies to everything in life. The energy of neediness, fear, and obsession actually creates repulsion. The more you grasp, the less space you give the universe to work. The more you beg, the more you signal to life that you do not already possess what you seek. And what you feel internally, you project externally. That is why detachment is so powerful. Detachment is not apathy. It's not that you don't care. It's that you are not controlled by outcomes. You are not emotionally enslaved by the idea of how things must turn out. You do your part, you show up, you speak your truth, you put in the work, but then you release. You step back and trust that whatever is aligned with your highest good will remain or return in its own time. This level of surrender requires emotional maturity. It takes courage to say, if this doesn't work out, I'm still enough. It takes strength to say, I release this because I believe something better is on the way. But when you get there, when you reach that place where you are full on the inside, you stop chasing. And when you stop chasing, you start attracting. People are drawn to someone who is rooted in peace. Opportunities are magnetized to those who are not operating out of lack, but from a place of wholeness. That's what letting go does. It clears your energy field of desperation. It removes the emotional clutter of fear. And what's left? Clarity, confidence, presence. Understand this. Attachment whispers lies. It tells you that you need this person or this job or this outcome to feel secure. It tells you that letting go is failure, when in truth, letting go is the first step toward emotional freedom, because when you release your grip, you reclaim your power. And that power is magnetic. So if you are holding on to something right now, someone, some dream, some outcome, with clenched fists, I want you to ask yourself, is this attachment helping me or hurting me? Is it making me feel more alive or is it draining my joy? If the answer points toward fear, it's time to let go. And that doesn't mean giving up. It means rising up. It means trusting that what is truly for you cannot be kept from you. It means remembering that peace is not found in the external, but within. When you let go, you tell the universe, I am ready to receive without force. I am ready to allow. I am ready to trust. And that, my friends, is the key to true attraction. Not from a place of needing, but from a place of knowing. There is a natural rhythm to life, a divine current that is always flowing, always moving, always guiding us toward our highest potential. But here's what most people don't realize. When we try to control everything, When we hold on too tightly to our plans, our expectations, and our fears, we actually fight against that flow. We go against the current. We resist the very process that's trying to bless us. Letting go is not giving up. Letting go is realigning. It's choosing to stop wrestling with life and start moving with it. And that shift changes everything. You see, when you try to force outcomes, when you try to control how people behave, when something must go your way or you lose peace, you disconnect from flow. And the moment you disconnect from flow, stress increases, anxiety multiplies, and doors that were meant to open begin to close. Not because life is cruel, but because life was never meant to be controlled. It was meant to be trusted. Flow is not passive. It's not about sitting back and doing nothing. It's about learning to participate with life, not manipulate it. When you're in flow, your energy aligns with what's right for you. You start to notice divine timing. You begin to see how certain delays were actually protection. You start to feel peace in the midst of uncertainty. Why? Because you've stopped fighting. And the way to get into flow is through surrender, through letting go. Letting go means you stop clinging to how you think things should be and start allowing things to unfold as they're meant to be. That doesn't mean you lose your vision. It doesn't mean you abandon your goals. It means you become flexible. It means you stop breaking yourself trying to force things that clearly aren't meant for you. It means you say, I'll do my best and I'll trust the rest. When you let go, something beautiful happens inside of you. The tension in your mind begins to loosen. The pressure on your chest starts to lift. You become lighter. And in that lightness, your intuition grows stronger. You hear more clearly. You see more clearly. Why? Because your mind is no longer clouded with fear and control. You've entered the flow. That's where clarity lives. That's where divine guidance flows. That's where the right people begin to show up. The right ideas come to you in stillness. The right path reveals itself, not because you chased it, but because you aligned with it. Some people wonder why they feel stuck, why everything they try feels like a battle, why every step feels like they're pushing against a wall. And often the answer is simple. You're not in flow, you're in fear. You're trying to control what should be trusted. You're trying to make something happen that may not even be meant for you. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care enough about your peace, your energy, and your future to no longer force your way forward. You start to believe that what is truly for you will flow to you, not through struggle, but through alignment. When you're aligned with life, you're not chasing, you're attracting. You're not anxious, you're attentive. You're not desperate, you're discerning. That's what happens when you let go of your need to control every detail. You begin to trust the deeper intelligence of life, the timing, the lessons, the detours. You understand that what doesn't work out is just as important as what does, because everything is guiding you somewhere greater. Letting go aligns you with that guidance. It places you in a position to receive. You begin to move through life like water, fluid, strong, and calm. When an obstacle comes, you don't panic, you adapt. When a door closes, you don't collapse, you shift. That's flow, that's maturity, that's wisdom. And make no mistake, people can feel that energy on you. When you're in flow, you're attractive, you're magnetic, you're peaceful to be around. You're not trying to convince anyone. You're not chasing anything. You're simply living from a place of trust. And that trust makes you shine. So if you've been forcing, pushing, stressing, I invite you to let go. Not to lose, but to align. Not to fall behind, but to catch up with your own destiny. Because once you step into flow, everything begins to move for you. One of the greatest sources of anxiety, stress, and emotional exhaustion in life comes from our desire to control everything. We want to control how people act. We want to control how life unfolds. We want to make sure that everything goes exactly as we've imagined in our minds. But the truth is, control is an illusion. And the more we chase it, the more peace slips through our fingers. You see, the human mind craves certainty. It wants to predict the future. It wants to minimize risk. It wants to eliminate pain. So we try to manage every possible outcome. We obsess over details. We create plans upon plans, backups upon backups. And while preparation is wise, trying to control what is ultimately outside of your influence only leads to mental chaos. You become reactive, you become tense, you become afraid of anything you can't predict. But when you begin to release that need to control, when you learn to surrender, to trust, to breathe, you start to experience something rare and powerful, inner peace. That stillness inside is not found in perfect conditions. It's found in letting go of the need for perfect conditions. Think about it. How often have you worried endlessly about something that never even happened? How many sleepless nights have you spent trying to control how someone else feels about you, what they might do, or what the future might hold? And in doing so, what did you sacrifice? Your peace, your joy, your presence. When you release control, you don't become careless, you become wise. You learn to discern what's within your influence and what is not. You begin to realize that while you can't always choose what happens to you, you can always choose how you respond. That awareness is freedom. That shift in focus from trying to control the outside world to mastering your inner world is the beginning of emotional strength. Peace doesn't come from everything going your way. It comes from knowing that no matter which way things go, you will be okay. It comes from the deep belief that life doesn't have to follow your script to still be meaningful, beautiful, and aligned. That kind of peace can't be shaken because it's not dependent on outcomes. It's rooted in trust. Letting go of control means you stop trying to micromanage your life. It means you release the constant mental noise that says, what if this happens? What if they don't understand me? What if I fail? You replace it with, I'll do my part, and then I'll trust the process. I'll show up fully, and then I'll release what I can't control. That is not weakness. That is emotional maturity. That is spiritual intelligence. Because there is a quiet power in surrender, a power that comes from knowing that you're not alone in this life, that there's a higher order, a divine intelligence, a flow that is much wiser than your fears. When you align with that, peace becomes your natural state. People often ask, how can I be calm when things are falling apart around me? The answer is not in forcing life to behave. It's in anchoring yourself within. It's in choosing not to live at the mercy of circumstances, but to create an unshakable center of calm inside of you. And that center is built when you consistently let go of what you can't control and redirect your energy to what you can. Your thoughts, your choices, your actions, your attitude. When you're no longer trying to manipulate every situation, you become lighter. Your spirit lifts. Your mind clears. You begin to respond instead of react. You become more present, more loving, more creative, because your energy is no longer tangled up in resistance. That's the real reward of letting go. It's not just about making life easier. It's about becoming stronger, calmer, wiser. It's about walking through uncertainty with grace. It's about knowing that whatever happens around you, you don't have to lose yourself within it. So, if you've been carrying the burden of control, trying to fix everything, explain everything, plan every step, I encourage you to pause, breathe, reflect, and ask yourself, is this bringing me peace or is it stealing it from me? If the answer is the latter, it may be time to let go. Because peace isn't something you find when everything is under control. It's something you feel when you no longer need control to feel safe. There comes a point in your personal growth where you must ask yourself a powerful question. What am I still holding on to that no longer serves me? Because whether you realize it or not, every outdated belief, every broken relationship, every fear, every memory that keeps you stuck is shaping what you attract into your life. And if you're holding on to what is no longer aligned, you're unknowingly blocking what is. Letting go isn't always easy. We hold on because of comfort, familiarity, and fear of the unknown. We think, what if I don't find better? What if this is the best I'll ever get? So we settle. We hold on to relationships that drain us. We cling to jobs that don't inspire us. We replay past experiences, keeping our hearts anchored to moments that are long gone. But here's the truth. What's meant for you will never require you to shrink to keep it. It will never demand you to live in fear, self-betrayal, or stagnation. When you let go of what no longer aligns with your highest good, you make space for what does. You send a powerful signal to life itself, I'm ready for more. I trust what's next. I'm no longer afraid to release what's been. And in that moment, your energy changes. Your vibration shifts. You become magnetic, not by chasing, but by allowing. What most people don't understand is that clinging is resistance. Holding on to something not meant for you is like holding your breath. You can do it for a while, but eventually it suffocates your spirit. When you release that grip, when you finally exhale, you open yourself up to receive. And what you receive often surprises you because it's better than you imagined, and it was always waiting for you to be ready. Alignment is not about forcing outcomes, it's about matching the energy of the life you truly want. That means saying no to what doesn't feel right, even if it once did. That means walking away from what's familiar but unfulfilling. That means choosing peace over approval, growth over comfort, truth over attachment. When you let go, your discernment sharpens. You stop confusing chemistry with compatibility. You stop mistaking comfort for alignment. You start to feel the difference between what feels good in the moment and what supports your long-term growth. And you become more courageous in your choices because you're no longer operating from fear, you're operating from trust. Trust that letting go isn't the end, it's the beginning. Trust that release creates space, and space attracts what belongs. Trust that you are worthy of more, not because you've earned it, but because you're finally aligned with it. This is where transformation happens. This is where your life begins to match the strength, clarity, and integrity of who you will notice once you begin to let go that new opportunities begin to flow your way. Not because they just appeared, but because now you can finally see them. The wrong things used to block your view. The wrong people clouded your perspective, but now you have clarity. Now you have room for growth. This is not magic. This is alignment. Life responds to your energy. When you're full of fear and resistance, you attract chaos and confusion. When you're full of trust and openness, you attract clarity and connection. You get to choose the energy you carry, and that energy determines what you attract. So don't be afraid to release what's heavy. Don't be afraid to let go of the story that says you need to hold on to everything to be safe. That story is a lie. Safety comes from alignment. Peace comes from trust. Joy comes from flow. And all of it begins the moment you say, I no longer need to force this. I am ready to. Certainly. Here is the expanded motivational speech for Keynote 5. The more you let go, the more you become yourself. Written in an educational and inspirational tone, approximately 700 words. There is a powerful truth that many people overlook in their journey of personal growth. The path to becoming your truest, most authentic self is not about adding more. It's not about constantly achieving, acquiring, or performing. In fact, it's the opposite. The more you let go, the more you begin to uncover who you really are. You don't become yourself by trying to be everything to everyone. You become yourself by releasing everything that you are not. From the moment we are born, the world begins to shape us. We are given roles, expectations, and labels. We are told who we should be, how we should act, and what success looks like. And in trying to meet those standards, many of us start to forget who we really are underneath it all. We learn to suppress our voice to fit in. We bury our desires to avoid judgment. We wear masks to protect ourselves. And slowly, we start to identify with those masks more than with the person beneath them. But deep down, you know when something doesn't feel aligned. You know when you're pretending. You know when you're sacrificing your inner truth just to keep the peace or meet someone else's expectations. That inner tension, that quiet discomfort is not a sign that you're broken. It's a signal that it's time to let go. Let go of who you think you need to be. Let go of the version of yourself you created just to survive. Let go of the habits, the beliefs, and the attachments that were built on fear, because none of that is the real you. The real you is underneath all of that. And the more you release, the more you reconnect with your natural state, your clarity, your creativity, your peace, and your purpose. Becoming yourself is a process of subtraction. You peel back the layers. You drop the comparison. You release the pressure. You stop looking for validation outside of yourself and start honoring the wisdom within you. And what you find is that your essence was never missing. It was just hidden. Hidden beneath the noise, the conditioning, the expectations. People often think that letting go is a loss, but it's not a loss. It's a return. It's coming home to yourself. When you let go of people who don't see you, environments that don't nourish you, and patterns that don't reflect your truth, you begin to feel more alive, not because you gained something, but because you finally stopped denying who you are. You don't need to become someone else to be loved. You don't need to impress or pretend to be worthy. You are already worthy by being real. And the more you let go of your need to prove yourself, the more others are drawn to you, not to the performance, but to the presence. Not to the mask, but to the soul. When you live in alignment with your true self, everything changes. Your energy shifts. You start making decisions that support your growth. You attract people who respect your boundaries and share your values. You create a life that reflects your truth, not someone else's script. And that's when life becomes magnetic, not because you chased it, but because you became it. Letting go also gives you power, the power to choose who you want to be from a place of authenticity. You're no longer reacting out of fear or conditioning. You're responding from clarity. You're not trying to fit into a world that doesn't understand you. You're shaping your own world, grounded in who you are and who you're becoming. So if you find yourself feeling lost, overwhelmed, or disconnected, don't ask, what do I need to add to feel whole? Ask instead, what do I need to release? Because the truth is, you're not missing anything. You just need to clear what's in the way. And what's in the way is often old pain, limiting beliefs, and false identities that you've outgrown. Freedom is not found in adding more to your life. Freedom is found in letting go of what's no longer true for you. The more there is a silent truth most people eventually come to understand, the more you let go, the less you need. In a world that constantly tells you to want more, buy more, be more, and do more, there's something incredibly powerful about choosing less. Intentionally, mindfully, and with deep self-respect. Letting go isn't just about losing something, it's about discovering what you never needed in the first place. When you release the excess, the clutter, the noise, the unnecessary, you create space for clarity. And in that clarity, you often realize that what you thought was essential was never really serving you. Our culture glorifies accumulation. We are conditioned to chase status, wealth, recognition, and control. We believe the more we have, the more secure we will feel. But what often happens is the opposite. The more we accumulate, the more we fear losing it. The more we attach ourselves to things, be it possessions, people, or outcomes, the more anxious we become. Why? Because now we've placed our identity, our peace, and our value in things. Letting go breaks that cycle. It teaches you that real freedom comes not from what you hold on to, but from what you can walk away from. Think about it. The person who needs nothing is the most powerful in the room. The one who isn't attached to people's opinions, to temporary wins, or even to the fear of starting over, that person is unshakable. They're grounded in who they are, not in what they have. Letting go of the need for validation is one of the most liberating things you'll ever do. So many people are trapped in a life built around approval, constantly shaping themselves into what others want them to be. But the truth is, no amount of praise will satisfy you if you're not proud of who you are when no one's watching. When you let go of that craving for external applause, you begin to hear your own voice again. You begin to live life on your own terms. This also applies to expectations, the silent rules we place on ourselves and others. We expect life to unfold a certain way, people to behave a certain way, and success to look a certain way. But life rarely cooperates with rigid expectations. And every time it doesn't, we suffer, not because something terrible happened, but because we were so attached to our version of how things should be. When you let go of expectations, you begin to experience life more openly. You stop resisting what is and start flowing with what's possible. And then there's material attachment. There's nothing wrong with having nice things, but when your identity depends on them, you're standing on shaky ground. The more you need to prove your worth through what you own, the further you drift from your real self. Letting go of that need strips away the illusion. You realize you're enough without the labels, without the comparisons, without the constant chase. And that's where true self-respect begins, not in accumulation, but in detachment. Even emotionally, we often hold on to old pain and stories because we think they define us. But healing happens when you let go of the narrative that says, this is who I am because of what happened to me. No, you are not your pain. You are not your past. And you don't need to keep reliving those moments to validate your growth. You can let go and still carry the wisdom. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, what can I release today? It might be a thought that's weighing you down, a toxic relationship, an outdated. One of the most profound realizations on the journey of personal growth is that sometimes, in order to move forward, we must let go of the past. The past in all its forms, be it past failures, past relationships, past pain, or past victories, can act as both a weight and a shield. It shapes who we are, but it can also imprison us if we cling to it too tightly. The past is valuable only when it is used as a teacher. Holding on to it too long, however, stops you from stepping into the fullness of your future. If you want to create something new, something greater, something more aligned with who you are today, you must learn to release what was. When we hold on to past mistakes, we are bound by the energy of regret and guilt. We carry them as a constant reminder of our shortcomings. But the truth is, every mistake, every failure is a lesson wrapped in experience. And lessons are meant to be learned, not relived. They are stepping stones to greater wisdom and growth. If you remain tethered to the past, you rob yourself of the opportunity to see how far you've come. You become trapped in an illusion that the past is more real or more important than the present. But life happens in the present. The only way to shape your future is to release the chains of yesterday's missteps and allow yourself to evolve. The same applies to holding on to past relationships, whether they are romantic, familial, or friendships. People grow and change, and sometimes those we were once close to no longer align with our path or vision for the future. Letting go of these relationships isn't about abandoning people or being heartless. It's about acknowledging that people grow in different directions, and it's okay to honor that. It's okay to love someone from a distance if their energy no longer serves yours. It's okay to walk away from relationships that no longer encourage your growth. The pain of letting go is often indication of how deeply we were attached to the story we created with that person. But what if that story was only a chapter and not the entire book of your life? When you let go of the need to keep people in your life who drain you, criticize you, or hold you back, you open space for new connections. Connections that will inspire, uplift, and challenge you in the best ways possible. And sometimes letting go of someone else is about letting go of an old version of yourself that no longer serves you. The person you were in that relationship might not be the person you are becoming. Letting go is part of the evolution process. It's part of clearing the space for the best version of yourself to emerge. In addition to releasing people and past mistakes, letting go is also essential when it comes to past successes. Success, while often celebrated, can become another form of attachment if we base our identity on what we've accomplished. If you're always chasing the next achievement to prove that you are successful or worthy, you'll never feel fulfilled. True success isn't about what you've done, it's about who you're becoming. When you let go of your past achievements, you free yourself from the pressure to constantly outperform yourself. You stop measuring your worth by your accolades and instead start measuring it by your growth, your impact, and your happiness. By releasing the idea that you need to live up to past success, you give yourself permission to start fresh, to create without fear, and to build something new with greater clarity and intention. This is why letting go is not a sign of weakness or failure. It's a sign of strength and wisdom. It shows that you trust the process of life. It demonstrates that you are ready to evolve, to adapt, and to embrace the future with open arms. The ability to let go is one of the most empowering tools you can possess. It allows you to move with ease through life's inevitable changes without being burdened by the past. Letting go is the act of releasing resistance. When you release resistance, you align yourself with the flow of life, and that flow will carry you to places you've never dreamed of. As you step forward into your future, remember that life is constantly evolving. The universe is constantly moving, and it will continue to bring new opportunities, new people, and new experiences your way. But if you are clinging to what was, you will miss what is to come. The key to unlocking the future you desire is to make peace with what is and to release what no longer serves you. Let go of the past and watch as the universe responds by opening up doors you never knew existed. When you let go, you make space for what's next. And what's next is often more beautiful, more fulfilling, and more aligned with your purpose than anything you could have planned. Life has a way of offering us all sorts of opportunities, challenges, and experiences. Yet as we go through this journey, many of us often struggle with the concept of letting go. Whether it's letting go of negative thought patterns, letting go of toxic relationships, or letting go of past mistakes, the process can feel difficult, painful, and even counterintuitive. We often believe that holding on tightly to things, people, or circumstances will bring us security, safety, or control. But the reality is, the more we hold on, the more we limit our potential to grow, evolve, and live a fulfilling life. When we talk about letting go, we're not talking about giving up. We're talking about releasing the internal resistance that keeps us stuck in patterns that no longer serve us. Holding on to anger, resentment, or fear keeps us in a state of emotional turmoil. When we refuse to let go of these negative emotions, we allow them to dictate our actions, thoughts, and behavior. We live in a constant state of reaction as opposed to being proactive in shaping our lives. The truth is, when we let go of the things that weigh us down, we create space for new things to enter. Our minds become clearer, our hearts lighter, and our energy more aligned with what we truly want. It's not about forgetting the past, but it's about no longer allowing the past to dictate who we are or who we become. When you let go of old hurt and pain, you stop allowing it to define you. You break free from the chains that bind you, and you open yourself to new possibilities and experiences. Letting go means releasing the need to control every outcome and allowing life to unfold naturally. One of the most transformative ways of letting go is in the area of negative thought patterns. Our thoughts shape our reality, and if we constantly dwell on the negative or focus on what we don't have, we remain stuck in a cycle of lack and limitation. The practice of letting go begins in the mind. You have to train yourself to let go of thoughts that no longer serve you. This doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It means shifting your focus from what's wrong to what's possible, what you can control, and what you can create. When you change the way you think, you change the way you live. Letting go also extends to relationships. We often hold on to people who drain us, who don't respect our boundaries, or who don't support our growth. Holding on to these kinds of relationships can be exhausting and emotionally damaging. However, letting go of toxic relationships is one of the most empowering acts of self-love you can perform. It doesn't mean that you abandon the people you care about. It simply means that you choose to prioritize your well-being and growth over maintaining relationships that are unhealthy for you. When you release these toxic connections, you make room for healthier, more nurturing relationships to enter your life. Letting go isn't just about other people. It's also about letting go of the version of yourself that you've outgrown. Many of us hold on to old identities, old beliefs, and old ways of thinking because they are familiar. They may have served us at one point in our lives, but they no longer reflect who we are becoming. It's easy to hold on to the comfort of the known, even if it doesn't align with our current reality or future aspirations. Letting go of the old you is often the hardest thing to do because it requires you to step into the unknown and trust that something better is waiting for you. But once you release the past versions of yourself, you allow space for your true potential to emerge. And when you let go of these limiting beliefs, you free yourself from self-imposed restrictions. You stop allowing your past failures, insecurities, or fears to define you. Instead of clinging to an old narrative of who you are, you open up to new possibilities, new opportunities, and new versions of yourself. The process of letting go requires trust in the unfolding of life. It's a deep belief that no matter what happens, you are exactly where you need to be, and everything is happening for your highest good. Letting go is also an act of courage. It's not always easy to release the things that have been a part of our lives for so long. It takes strength to let go of things that are familiar, even if they no longer serve us. But in that release, you find freedom, you find clarity, you find the space to create a future that is in alignment with who you are becoming. The more you let go of the things that no longer serve you, the more magnetic you become. You become a magnet for the life you truly want. One that's free from the limitations of the past and filled with infinite possibilities. Letting go is not just about releasing physical possessions or relationships. It's about releasing emotional baggage, old beliefs, and limiting patterns that prevent us from stepping into our true power. It's about releasing resistance to life and trusting that the universe will always support you in your journey toward greater self-empowerment. As you let go, you not only create room for abundance, but also open yourself up to the beauty and possibilities that life has to offer. The ability to let go is one of the most transformative practices you can integrate into your life. Letting go isn't about giving up. It's about freeing yourself from the things that no longer serve you. Life constantly changes, and with those changes come opportunities to grow, to evolve, and to step into the next chapter of your journey. But in order to fully embrace what lies ahead, you must learn to release what holds you back. It's natural to want to cling to the familiar. We hold on to habits, possessions, memories, and even people because they bring us comfort or because we believe they are essential to our identity. The truth is, holding on to these things often keeps us stuck in the past, preventing us from moving forward. The past, with all of its successes and failures, can weigh heavily on us if we let it. The memories of past experiences, both good and bad, can become like anchors that keep us from reaching our fullest potential. We relive the glory days or dwell on past mistakes, unable to move beyond them. But the power of letting go is realizing that the past has no hold on your future unless you allow it to. Letting go is not about forgetting the past. It's about releasing the emotional attachment to it. When you learn to release your attachment to past failures, you stop allowing them to control your present actions. You stop defining yourself by what you did wrong. Instead, you begin to see them for what they truly are. Lessons, experiences that help shape you into the person you are today. Experience, whether it was a success or failure, is part of your growth, but it doesn't define who you are. The more you let go of these emotional attachments, the more you free yourself to take the next step with clarity and purpose. It's the same with past relationships. Many of us hold on to relationships that no longer serve us simply because we fear the unknown or because we feel guilty for letting go. But there comes a point when you realize that some relationships, whether romantic, familial, or friendships, have fulfilled their purpose in your life. Letting go doesn't mean that you are abandoning people or walking away from your responsibility to them. It means understanding that your growth requires space to breathe, and that sometimes the people who were once important to your journey no longer align with the direction you are heading. Letting go of these relationships can be painful, but it also opens you up to new, healthier relationships that better reflect who you are becoming. The process of letting go also involves letting go of control. One of the greatest barriers to progress is the need to control everything. We often become attached to the idea that if we plan every detail and control every outcome, we will find security and safety. But the truth is, the more you try to control things, the more you limit your ability to experience life fully. Life is unpredictable, and that's where its beauty lies. When you let go of the need to control every aspect of your life, you begin to experience greater freedom and peace of mind. You start trusting the flow of life and the natural process of growth. You stop stressing over the things you cannot change and start focusing on the things you can control: your mindset, your actions, and your attitude. Letting go of control allows you to embrace life as it is, with all its uncertainties, knowing that everything is happening for your highest good. Another powerful aspect of letting go is the ability to release limiting beliefs and self-doubt. Many of us hold on to beliefs about ourselves that were shaped by past experiences or by the opinions of others. We tell ourselves that we are not worthy, that we are not capable, or that we are not deserving of success. These limiting beliefs hold us back from reaching our potential and experiencing the full richness of life. But when you let go of these beliefs, you make room for new ones. Beliefs that empower you, that encourage you to step into your greatness, and that fuel your actions. The moment you release your limiting beliefs is the moment you unlock your true potential. Letting go is crucial in achieving mental and emotional clarity. When we carry around emotional baggage, whether it's unresolved anger, disappointment, or resentment, it clouds our judgment and decision-making. Our minds become cluttered and our energy becomes scattered. Letting go of these negative emotions clears the path for positive energy to flow into your life. You begin to see opportunities where once there were only obstacles, and you approach challenges with a mindset of growth and learning rather than fear and resistance. The act of letting go helps you create space for peace, joy, and a renewed sense of purpose. Life is full of transitions. Whether you're moving to a new city, starting a new job, or stepping into a new phase of personal growth, letting go is essential in embracing the future. Change can be scary, especially when it requires us to leave behind parts of our old selves or our old lives. But it's through these changes that we evolve. We cannot move forward if we are clinging to the past. The future is where our greatest potential lies. And in order to tap into it, we must be willing to let go of what no longer serves us. Every time you let go of something or someone, you create space for something new to enter. The more you let go, the more you align yourself with the abundant opportunities that await. Letting go is not an act of weakness, but an act of strength. It requires courage, trust, and the willingness to embrace the unknown. By releasing the things that hold us back, whether they are negative thought patterns, toxic relationships, limiting beliefs, or the need to control, we open ourselves up to a future filled with possibility. Letting go makes you magnetic because when you release resistance and align with the natural flow of life, you attract all that you deserve. It is through letting go that we truly experience the fullness of life. So I encourage you to let go of whatever is holding you back. Release the past, trust the journey, and step boldly into the future that is waiting for you. We all have dreams and aspirations, but often we get caught up in the whirlwind of daily life and forget the most powerful tool available to us, the tool of letting go. Letting go is a profound act of courage, and yet it is one that so many resist. It is natural for us as human beings to cling to things, whether it's an old habit, a past experience, a relationship, or even a negative emotion. The idea of letting go often feels like relinquishing control, and we fear that doing so will leave us vulnerable or unprepared for the unknown. However, what if I told you that letting go could be the very key to unlocking the life you've always wanted? Letting go is an act of trust. When we hold on tightly to things, we inadvertently put ourselves in a state of resistance. Resistance to change, resistance to growth, and resistance to the natural flow of life. This resistance keeps us stuck in patterns and situations that drain our energy and limit our potential. It is only when we let go that we make room for something new opportunities, new experiences, and new ways of thinking. Letting go is not about abandoning the past, but it's about understanding that we no longer need to carry the weight of everything that's happened to us. The past has already been written, and no matter how hard we try to control it, we cannot change what has already passed. However, we do have control over how we choose to respond to it and what we choose to carry forward into our future. By letting go, we allow ourselves to be free from the chains that bind us to old narratives. Think about the beliefs you've carried with you throughout your life. Many of us were taught certain things growing up that shaped the way we view ourselves and the world around us. We were taught to believe that we were limited in some way, whether by our family circumstances, our socioeconomic status, or our gender. We were taught to settle for less, or to believe that we weren't worthy of success. These beliefs can be hard to shake, but when we hold on to them, we continue to live in a small version of ourselves. Letting go of these limiting beliefs means freeing ourselves from the constraints of old thinking. When we let go of the thoughts that tell us we are not good enough, not capable enough, or not deserving enough, we create space for a new belief system, one that affirms our worth, our potential, and our greatness. Letting go is also essential in relationships. Often we hold on to people, situations, and connections that no longer serve us because we fear being alone or we feel guilty for leaving someone behind. But holding on to toxic or unfulfilling relationships can keep us in a state of emotional turmoil. We may find ourselves draining our energy on people who don't appreciate us, who don't support us, or who hold us back from growing into our best selves. Letting go of these relationships, although painful, is one of the most empowering decisions we can make. It's not about abandoning anyone, but rather about honoring our own emotional well-being. When we let go of relationships that are not healthy, we create space for relationships that nurture us, lift us up, and align with our values. We allow ourselves to be in the company of people who encourage our growth, who inspire us, and who help us become the best version of ourselves. Letting go is not just about releasing things and people. It's also about letting go of negative emotions and past hurts. Many of us walk through life carrying emotional baggage, resentment, anger, guilt, fear, or shame. We may have been hurt by someone in the past, and we carry that pain with us, sometimes without even realizing it. Holding on to these emotions doesn't change the past, but it does affect our present and our future. It clouds our judgment, diminishes our energy, and keeps us from experiencing the peace and joy that we deserve. Letting go of these negative emotions is a form of emotional healing. It's about forgiving others, but most importantly, it's about forgiving ourselves. Forgiving ourselves for past mistakes, for holding on to things we no longer need, and for staying stuck in a place of emotional pain. When we forgive, we release ourselves from the grip of the past, and we open ourselves to healing, peace, and emotional freedom. The act of letting go is also deeply tied to our sense of self-worth. When we let go of things that no longer serve us, we are affirming that we deserve better. We are acknowledging that we are worthy of a life that reflects our true potential. Letting go is a declaration that we are ready for more joy, more peace, more love, more success. It's an act of self-respect and self-love. It's a sign that we are no longer willing to settle for less than what we deserve. By releasing the old and the outdated, we are making room for the new, for the life we've always dreamed of. We are stepping into a version of ourselves that is confident, empowered, and unapologetically bold. Letting go also allows us to tap into the present moment. So often we are consumed by thoughts of the future or the past. But the present moment is where life happens. When we hold on to the past, we miss the opportunities right in front of us. When we let go of the future, we stop worrying about things that have not even happened yet. Letting go is a practice in mindfulness. It's about being present, being aware, and fully embracing the current moment without the weight of past regrets or future anxieties. Letting go is not about surrendering to weakness, but embracing strength. It's about trusting that by releasing the things that no longer serve us, we open ourselves up to a brighter, more fulfilling future. Letting go is an act of self-care, of self-love, and of personal growth. It frees us from the chains that bind us and allows us to step into a life of greater peace, joy, and fulfillment. So I encourage you to examine your life and ask yourself, what is it that you need to let go of in order to move forward? What beliefs, relationships, or emotions are you holding on to that are no longer serving you? Letting go isn't easy, but it is necessary for the next chapter of your life. Release the old, embrace the new, and trust that the best is yet to come.